Hi, I'm Hal Roberts. This is Forum Daily West. Here's some of the top stories we've been following. Justin Trudeau announces that he's stepping down as both Prime Minister and Liberal leader. We hear from the PM and have reaction. Police in Lethbridge continue to investigate a homicide that occurred last month at a motel on Mayor McGrath. And new government information shows that 57,000 Albertans are receiving financial support from the province, which is the highest number in almost 6 years. We have more of the details. Thanks so much for joining us. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is resigning as Prime Minister and Liberal leader. Speaking outside of his home in Ottawa, Trudeau says he asked Governor General Mary Simon to prorogue Parliament until March 24th and that she agreed. Trudeau says he will step down once a Liberal leadership contest takes place and a new leader is chosen.
I advised the Governor General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
Trudeau's announcement comes 3 weeks after Chrystia Freeland resigned as Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister, leading for calls for the Prime Minister to step down. Now, in a YouTube post, federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the Liberals are trying to trick voters by swapping in another Liberal leader in an effort to rip off Canadians for another 4 years.
They want to protect their pensions and paycheck by sweeping their hated leader under the rug months before an election to trick you and then do it all over again. Now, while leaderless Liberals focus on saving their jobs and fighting each other for power, the country spirals out of control, an out-of-control housing emergency, an out-of-control migrant crisis, an out-of-control $62 billion deficit, not to mention tariff threats from the United States. Oh, and another NDP Liberal carbon tax hike kicks in this April 1st. Everything's out of control, and now the government is out of control. This cannot go on.
Federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says it will not matter who the next Liberal leader will be since the party has consistently let down Canadians.
They do not deserve another chance. They're more interested in themselves than the struggles of Canadians. We've got serious threats of Donald Trump and tariffs that put in question hundreds and thousands of Canadian jobs. And instead of focusing on you and protecting your jobs, they're worried about themselves. We have another serious threat to the middle class in Canada, and that is Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives. Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives want to cut from the middle class to give to their rich CEO friends.
At least 3 people were killed and 8 others were wounded in a shooting on a bus carrying Israelis in the occupied West Bank on Monday. The dead have been identified as 2 women in their 70s and a 35-year-old police officer. The driver of the bus was seriously wounded. Israeli military officials say at least 2 Palestinian gunmen carried out the attack and that security forces who were pursuing them set up roadblocks and were going through several towns in the area. Lethbridge police continue to investigate a homicide that occurred in late December at a motel on Mayor McGrath Drive. Police responded to a suspicious death on December 28th at the Super Lodge, where they found the body of a 34-year-old woman in one of the rooms. It was determined that on December 26th, 3 suspects who were known to the woman killed her with a firearm. An arrest warrant was issued for one suspect, who's 23-year-old Melissa Christelle Tidland. Police say she turned herself in on Friday and is now in custody. Police also obtained search warrants and arrested 2 others in connection with the death. They are 28-year-old Drew Austin Waters and 36-year-old Kyle Douglas Doddridge. All 3 are charged with first-degree murder and arson of property. Waters is also being charged with possession of a prohibited weapon. Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services are recommending residents be mindful of the dangers of carbon monoxide poisoning during the cold winter months. Chief Fire Marshal Troy Hicks shares vital tips on how to keep yourself safe from the silent killer.
Carbon monoxide, actually how it's created is it's fuels not being burned completely. So it could be anything from natural gas to gasoline to wood, things like that. If it's not working, the devices are not working completely, the fuel is not burned completely, and that's what causes the carbon monoxide.
Brian Lilley is a political columnist for the Toronto Sun and joins us now from a holiday trip in Palm Springs, California, to chat about the Trudeau resignation announcement. Brian, nice to be away from all of the snow. Were you surprised by Trudeau's announcement that, like his father, he's taking that long walk in the snow?
It was actually snowing. The lawns in the streets of Ottawa had a nice dusting overnight, so I guess that comparison is appropriate. By the time it happened, no. I'd long said that I thought that Justin Trudeau wanted to stick around, fight Pierre Poilievre in the next election, that there was no way he was stepping down. But there'd been so many signals over the past several days, including a memo that went out telling all staff in the PMO, you got to be in office in person tomorrow, big day. The different machinations happening in the background. We kind of knew something was coming. Was he going to prorogue and resign? Was he just going to prorogue and try and stick around? Instead, it's a bit of both. He's announced that he will resign, but not until they pick a new Liberal leader. So he's staying on as PM and as leader of the Liberal Party until they pick a new leader. Will that be before the House comes back from prorogation on March 24th? I think it has to be. Others are disputing, but we don't have the rules of this new Liberal leadership laid out yet.
Brian, Trudeau has asked Governor General Mary Simon to prorogue Parliament, as we talked about. What does that mean exactly, to prorogue Parliament?
It means that you shut down the current session and you are going to come back with a new session. Now, you can prorogue for a period of time. You can announce that you're proroguing and come back with a new session that same day. That has happened, at least at the provincial level, that has happened. And sometimes governments just want to reset their agenda. In this case, Trudeau's obviously looking to avoid a non-confidence vote.
So who are some of the top contenders you believe will be vying for the Liberal leadership?
Well, we already know that Chrystia Freeland, the former finance minister who kind of kickstarted all of this off with her resignation in mid-December, has been calling around to Liberal MPs, gauging their support. She's long been considered a contender. I mean, I don't get the appeal, but there are a lot of people around her who think that she has the royal jelly. Mark Carney, the former Bank of Canada governor, Bank of England governor, guy with the World Economic Forum and Goldman Sachs and all kinds of things that will make conservatives pull their hair out. He's obviously a contender and has also been calling around to Liberal MPs. Christy Clark is an interesting one, though. The former Premier of British Columbia is clearly throwing her hat in the ring on this. She definitely wants to run to be the next Liberal leader. She would be interesting because she, is more of a centrist Liberal than Justin Trudeau. She is out campaigning already against Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, and she's clearly angling for this as well. So it would be the first time the Liberal Party would be run by a woman.
Many Canadians are taking advantage of the GST holiday, which continues until the middle of February. For some business owners, however, it's been nothing but a pain. BCN's Naveen Day explains.
The GST holiday was anything but a holiday for many Canadians, particularly small business owners and their employees. The exemption, which only applies to certain items, has created hassle and confusion for underprepared stores and their customers. Secondhand stores and pawn shops had a particularly complicated feat to accomplish.
It was a day and a half to have one of my employees redo our whole computer program to adjust the items and just particular items that had GST included over the next couple months here. And so, that alone was quite a burden.
Some restaurants hoped the GST break would increase foot traffic and sales. So they were disappointed when that did not happen. Adding more insult to injury, the lower dining bills brought in lower gratuities.
Our server tips is depend of the amount of the people bill, total bill. So that's how it goes in here. With the total bill, that's the percentage of amount that the tips can get for the server.
There was also confusion over what items were tax exempt.
Video game systems, for example, they were GST exempt, paddles exempt, the games exempt, other accessories not exempt. So which accessories are not exempt? Well, we have to kind of look that up and figure it out. And it was really confusing to the customers and to us.
And there's mixed feelings regarding the political motivation behind this initiative.
As a business, we don't really have a political opinion on things, but we are fans of having the government leave us alone and let us run our business. And we're good at that. We know what we're doing and let them stay out of our hair.
Instead of freezing it 5% GST on a restaurant, why don't give it more, focus more on other things than the restaurant itself, like a housing, more of a buying more important things than eating out in the restaurant.
You know, a new year often means New Year's resolutions. It's an opportunity for a fresh start for many of us in implementing healthier habits into our lives. BCN's Heidi Echevarria spoke with a nutrition expert about healthier eating habits for 2025.
Exercising, sleeping better, improving mental health and spiritual life, quitting smoking, and saving money are some of the resolutions that people often set for themselves at the start of a new year. In the area of nutrition, experts say that the keto, no sugar, low carb diet is the plan for eating healthy, and that for many years it has been at the forefront of those who practice healthy diets. Added to this are the habits that also brings benefit to other areas. Chris Robinson, nutritional consultant and co-owner of Purple Carrot, explains what are the main aspects that people are looking for.
I think a lot of people are focusing on their brain health. We have a lot of people focusing on their hormone health. And so we'll see what trends come with that. And I always welcome trends that involve health, so long as we're doing them well. I mean, you can eat meat-based poorly or really well. You can eat plant-based poorly or really well. You can eat keto really well or really poorly. And so there's always healthy ways to do things. And that's where it's always nice when people come in to ask us questions, because we're always happy to help give them advice, as opposed to reading something on the internet and that may or may not be true or good for you or what have you. People want to make changes for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's just that, well, I need to make a resolution, and sometimes it's because they have a specific issue going on. Oftentimes we eat poorly around the holidays, and so people are like, oh, I feel terrible after Christmas, and so I need to make a change. Anytime we're looking at our health, looking at our choices we make, and know we have things that we can do in our day-to-day life that can make us feel better, that's really cool. Lots of veggies, protein regularly throughout the day, and drink lots of water are my big do's.
The recommendation given by the nutrition expert Robinson is to start with really small changes, like adding more water and vegetables, and putting less sugar, so that the diet resolution lasts through the whole year. For Bridge City News, I'm Heidi Echevarria.
Team USA beat Team Finland 4-3 in overtime to win the World Junior Hockey Championships for the second year in a row. Finland, which had won 5 in a row going into Sunday's game, received their silver medals. Meanwhile, for the bronze medal match, Czechia beat Sweden 3-2 in a 14-round shootout to win its second consecutive bronze medal. Sadly, Canada finished out of the medals, finishing 5th in the prestigious tournament, celebrating some of the best young hockey players in the world. Now, speaking of hockey, the Hershey Bears of the American Hockey League set a new world record for their annual teddy bear toss on Sunday. After scoring their first goal in a matchup versus the Providence Bruins, fans were quick to toss a sea of stuffed animals onto the ice, and what officials say is the largest number ever recorded at 102,343 stuffed animals. That's around 10 stuffed bears for every fan in attendance. The Hershey Bears, located in Pennsylvania, are renowned for their large number of bears thrown onto the ice during their annual teddy bear toss game, a tradition in hockey found across North America, especially in the Western Hockey League. The Lethbridge Hurricanes held their annual teddy bear toss game last month, which saw over 4,200 bears tossed on the ice, donated to charity. Love those teddy bears. New government information shows that more than 57,000 Albertans are receiving financial support from the province. That's the highest number since 2019. Alberta says Ottawa's rollout of the emergency response benefit during the first year of the pandemic meant provincial income support recipients dropped substantially in 2020 and 2021. The number, however, started to pick up after that, growing by about 20% last year. The Alberta government announced details of a formal working agreement with Enbridge Pipelines to increase oil and gas production. Premier Daniel Smith says this will help increase production to the United States, which already receives more than 4.3 million barrels of Canadian oil per day. She also discussed her concerns regarding the 25% tariff threat from incoming U.S. President Donald Trump.
The U.S. president seems intent on putting tariffs in place. And so we're in a position now where we've got a lame duck leader with no immediate plans to leave, with no resolution to who is going to be the bargaining partner until, I think it was suggested, as late as May. So I believe it's up to myself, the other premiers, to make the case to the Americans ourselves in the absence of federal leadership. And so that's why I'm going to the inauguration. I'll be staying there for 4 or 5 days. I hope to be able to put forward the case that I made today about how we are the Americans' best friend and trading partner. We can provide the resources that they need to be successful.
That's your Forum Daily West report. I'm Hal Roberts. Thanks so much for watching.